When a man finds himself alone, he doesn't realize it right away. A breakup isn't always a scene with a suitcase in hand and a slammed door. Sometimes she leaves unnoticed. First, out of your conversations, then out of your touches, then out of your plans, and only much later out of the apartment. And you're left alone, but not in the room, within yourself. You can keep drinking coffee from the same mug, sitting on the same couch, wearing her old t-shirt, and not understand at what moment it all ended, because it's not about the things and not about her. It's about the fact that you've been holding on to an image that no longer exists for too long. You weren't letting go of the woman. You were clinging to an illusion. In such moments, men ask, what? How do I forget her? How do I get all this out of my head? How do I stop suffering? Yeah, but that's the wrong question. Not how to forget, but why did she become something you can't stop thinking about at all? This video isn't about how to erase memories. It's about something else. About how to reclaim yourself. About how to break the internal dependency. To step out of pain without weakness, without false victories, and without the desire for her to feel sorry for you. This video isn't about the woman, it's about you. About how you reach this point, and how to get out of it in a way that you don't just forget, but never end up in such dependency again. Not with her, not with someone else, and not even with your own memory. A breakup never starts with the actual parting. It starts with the feeling that there's less of you, less in her life, in her eyes, in her reactions. You're still around, but already like a shadow, a habit, a duty, a silhouette. As if you're gradually becoming an extra in a story where you used to be the main character. At first, you don't even notice the changes. She's late at work. So what? It happens. She responds more briefly. Maybe she's tired. She stops asking how your day was. You chalk it up to stress. You look for excuses, and you find them because you want to find them. But there comes a moment when even the lies stop working. You feel it. Something is gone. The warmth has vanished. Her presence has become formal. It's as if you're living in an apartment where there once was sunlight, but now only the furniture remains. And instead of closeness, politeness. Instead of interest, coldness. Instead of us, silence. You try to talk. You ask questions. You hope that a conversation will clear everything up. Sure, but in response, you hear fragments. I'm tired. I need time. It's not that simple. And you take it as the truth. Because you still believe she's just confused. That this is temporary, but you're wrong. Because inside her, the process is already complete. You've already been excluded. They just haven't told you. And you keep fighting, not with the situation, but with a shadow. You become suspicious, anxious. You check her messages. You read between the lines. You see her smiling at someone else. How she comes alive, not with you. And you start to realize this is no longer your woman, but you can't let go because you've invested too much in her, because you've grown more attached than you're willing to admit to yourself. And then everything crumbles. The taste for work disappears, energy fades. You stare at the ceiling in the evenings, and in your head, only her voice. Her face, her indifference. You freeze at every message, living in a state of waiting, and even if she's gone, you remain in the past, in dependency. In a scenario she closed long ago, You can't forget your ex as long as you remain the man she left. Oh, that means the goal isn't to erase memories, but to become different. Not for revenge, not so she regrets it, but so you never end up at the point where you live someone else's life again. Below is the path, not a magic pill, but an adult instruction, direct, tough, and clear. Step 1. Complete disconnection from her reality. The first thing you must do is disappear from her orbit, not in the sense of getting offended or showing ignore, but completely, silently, without a dramatic gesture. Delete, disconnect, cut off. You shouldn't know what's happening with her. She shouldn't see that you're alive. No stories, no likes, no, how are you? You zero out contact because every tiny signal, every observation hooks you. And as long as you react, you're not free. Step 2, shifting from reaction to action. You must stop reacting to the past and start acting in the present. This isn't about the gym for Instagram photos. This is about systematic work on your body, on routine, on discipline, on money, on your environment. Even if there's pain inside, actions happen outside. You don't heal yourself with thoughts. You rebuild yourself with actions. Every day, a step. Every day, a result. Small but yours. And the more of these steps, the less space remains in you for her image. Step 3, cutting off illusions. She won't come back the way she was, even if she wants to, even if she writes. You mustn't feed the fantasy that everything can be fixed. You're not a therapist. You're not a savior. If she destroyed you once, the second attempt will be the same. The only difference is that you can no longer say, I didn't know. Now you know. And if you take her back, it'll be your choice and your responsibility. Step 4, rewriting your own standards. As long as you hold the thought, but she was special, you're a prisoner. No one should be so special that they destroy your foundation. Rethink who can be by your side. What qualities are mandatory? What are unacceptable? Where patience ends and betrayal begins. You can't choose on a whim. You must choose as a person who knows who he is and what's unacceptable in his world. Step 5, the final point, not revenge, but indifference. Your goal isn't to be better than her, not to find someone prettier. Your goal is to wake up one day and realize that you no longer think about her. Not because you forgot, but because everything inside has become neutral. She no longer affects you. She's no longer needed. She's simply past. And you don't regret it. You're grateful. Because this very pain pulled you out of a dream and made you stronger. The first and most destructive mistake, he clings to the woman more than to himself. When she starts pulling away, he tries to hold on not just to her, he holds on to the idea of himself next to her. He forgets who he was before this relationship. It seems to him that without her, he's incomplete. He doesn't just lose the woman, he loses his foundation. The second mistake, a man believes her words, not her behavior. She might say she's just tired, that she needs time, that she doesn't know what she wants. And he believes her. Because he wants to believe. Because fear outweighs reality. Even though her actions say everything you need to know, she's already gone. Maybe not physically yet, but emotionally, long ago. And he still waits, still explains, still hopes. The third mistake, he starts adapting. Feeling that he's losing her, he becomes softer, more convenient, quieter. He thinks that if he stops being harsh or demanding, she'll stay. But a man who loses his position doesn't inspire gratitude. He inspires pity, and pity never turns back into love. The fourth mistake, emotional breakdown. When the tension reaches a boiling point, he makes a scene. Checks her phone, yells, accuses, demands explanations. He wants to hear the truth. He wants to end the pain. But in the woman's eyes at that moment, he's no longer a man. He's a lost, weak person who can't control himself. And with this breakdown, he finally confirms her decision to leave. The fifth mistake, he stays inside this connection, even when it's long over. She's gone, but he keeps writing. He follows her on social media. He waits for hints. He lives off reactions to her life. And in this, the most terrible loss. He no longer builds his own life. He doesn't reclaim himself. He sits by a closed door and hopes she'll remember. A man shouldn't live in a state of waiting. He shouldn't beg, prove, or justify himself. He can feel pain, but he can be vulnerable. But he mustn't lose himself. The mistakes aren't in the emotions. The mistakes are in the behavior that turns a man into a dependent. And dependency is always the end of respect. As long as you cling, you don't forget. You only sink deeper. You won't notice this moment right away. It doesn't come with fanfare. It doesn't come with messages or a burst of inspiration. It comes quietly. One day you wake up and realize she's gone. Not from your life, not from your head, not from your heart. She might exist somewhere out there, in another city, in someone's bed, in someone's plans, but inside you, silence, without pain, without expectations, without the desire to prove you're worthy. You no longer play those roles. You've left the theater. You haven't become cruel. You haven't become indifferent. You've simply become whole. You don't cling to what fell apart. You don't hold on to someone who chose to leave. You respect her right to choose. But you have your own path. You don't write. You don't check. You don't go back to the past. Not because you're playing I'm above this, but because true strength is calm. The calm that comes when you're no longer dependent. You no longer seek meaning in a woman. You don't build your self-esteem on her reactions. You don't prove anything to anyone. You simply live relying on yourself. You choose who to move forward with. And if a woman doesn't fit into your system of coordinates, you let her go without regrets. This is the true victory. Without triumph, without drama, without announcements, you've simply become a man who can't be broken by the same pain anymore. Forgetting a woman doesn't mean erasing your memory. It means freeing your inner space from someone else's control, from someone else's voices, reactions, whims, expectations. It means reclaiming your right to be at the center of your own life. As long as you hold on to the image, you don't see reality. As long as you live by her actions, you don't hear your own decisions. As long as you live in the position of I was abandoned, you remain in the past. But a person who has truly gone through pain doesn't remain the same. He no longer believes in the same kind of love. He doesn't look back with longing. He looks back with clarity. You now know what can destroy you. You've seen how the foundation can be lost, and you survived. That means you now build differently. You don't give a woman the center of gravity in your life. You don't endow her with power she didn't ask for. You choose who to be with, when to be, and on what terms. And if someone tries to pull you into dependency again, you'll notice it immediately. Because you've already been there, and you got out. Now you're not the one who's afraid to lose. You're the one who can't be lost. because you stand on your own 2 feet, without illusions, without beggars, without inner emptiness. And if she ever comes back, you won't close the door in her face. You simply won't open it again. And I don't say goodbye.